Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall be no more remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it.
That was already fulfilled in the Old Testament.
That's not fulfilled.
That was already fulfilled in the Old Testament.
That's not fulfilled at all.
That was already fulfilled. That was already fulfilled in the Old Testament.
That's not fulfilled at all.
That was already fulfilled, bro.
That's not. Your people.
Apocrypha.
Your people.
Apocrypha.
Your people are
That's false.
ruling.
That's not even the Bible, bro.
It is the Bible.
No, it's not.
1611. 1611. King James version.
Wait. Enoch, right? Book of Enoch.
I don't subscribe to the book of Enoch.
That's Apocrypha.
That's not the Apocrypha.
Right?
The Enoch is not in the Apocrypha, man. It's not in the Apocrypha.
The book of Jasher, not.
Jasher, Enoch is not in the Apocrypha. Jubilees, Jasher, Enoch.
So Catholic Apocrypha.
Listen, Jubilees, Jasher, and another book that you said Enoch is not inside the 1611 King James version.
Not okay. So Catholic Apocrypha. That's what you're saying.
What
Tobit, Judith, Joel and the Dragon, Maccabees.
Yes, that's in the Apocrypha. Yes, that's the Apocrypha.
Catholic.
1611.
You know there's witchcraft in it.
1611 King James.
You know there's witchcraft in it.
1611.
Did you read it?
Now, I just gave Edom your judgment.
So your people, doing witchcraft.
Is your people ruling right now? Who's ruling the world right now?
Both people are ruling the world.
These stigmas that they put on us, are the Rothschilds so-called black people or so-called white people?
I don't even know what that is.
You don't know what a Rothschild is? The Rothschilds. Never heard of the Rothschilds?
No.
Put it like this: Who owned the banks? So-called white people or so-called black people?
Both.
Who owned all the banks in the world? So-called white people or so-called black people?
Both. Bro, both.
Who owned all the banks in the world? Put it like this: Have you heard of the Rothschilds?
No.
Oh, I'm
from Apocrypha.
It's part of the Bible. It's the 16th.
It's not part of the Bible.
It's not.
Do y'all know who? Do y'all know who Esdras? Do y'all know who Esdras is?
Esdras, yeah.
Yeah, the Apocrypha was taken under the Bible.
Thank you.
That's Bible.
Thank you.
That's part of the Bible.
It was in the Bible before when the Bible was first made in 1611. It was in there.
Thank you.
Right. But 1611 Bible that has grammatical errors, right?
Thank you.
Right.
No, grammatical errors in there, man.
Yes, it does.
All right, now you just said that your people, white people, run the world. We all know that.
That's not my people. All right, bro.
Now, second Esdras 6:9. For Esau is the end of the world,
I ain't even about to let you
but
talk.
Jacob is the beginning that followeth.
I ain't even about to let you talk on that. That's not even Bible.
Jacob will rule again.
So,
you heard this, right?
I rebuke you, bro. I rebuke you. You and your false doctrine.
He's the Edomite.
I rebuke you, bro. I rebuke you, bro. In the name of Yeshua, bro. Yeshua,
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Recha HaQuadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Also, a sincere shalom to you other elders, you brethren, and you followers of the truth. And let me say shalom to the elect. I want to go in this video here of this guy called debating it's called debating the black Hebrew Israelites or something like that. I don't, this is just something that they put on us. But anyway, his channel is Young Detroit Street Preachers, right? That's his channel, Young Detroit Street Preachers. So we've been saying for a few years now that these Christians are going to ride a new wave off of the tails of the garments of Israelites, and was going to try to come out and start hitting the streets. And now you have this vocab Malone calls themselves the street apologists or whatever, and their whole mission is to go and defend the Bible, so to speak. They're reformers. They're just reincarnated back doing the same thing. We'll get into that too, because this guy ultimately said, well, he didn't even know who the Rothschilds was. That's crazy. But he ultimately said that the Apocrypha is a Roman Catholic book, when really it was them that took it out. So I don't know where he gets that from. They had used it for, on certain scriptures, but they were partially responsible for taking it out. So I'll get into more than that, but I also want to get into the fact that he said that the Edomites was done away in the Old Testament. And see, this was the separation of the books, going back, going back even before the Reformation, how they wanted the Old Testament out of the way, and then kept the New Testament. It wasn't until later that the Old Testament was brought back. So you got to understand, the books, which were broken on several times, was taken out and put back and taken out again and put back. So this is why you have today, you'll have a New Testament Bible, right? And then you have Israelites who even believe only in the Old Testament. So this is nothing new. So the taking out of the Apocrypha, which means hidden books, which they try to do is blame it on witchcraft. But the whole agenda of the Apocrypha, taking it out, was to universalize, right? And this is also why it was responsible for putting certain words in there through the Latin. Now, he said that the Apocrypha had flaws, but you had clerical errors in the Bible in general. This is why we go and do the research. Like, thou shalt not abhor Edomite, Deuteronomy 22, I think. So he goes on to say that Israelites were done away with, and as Elder Apostle Tahar always say, that you got to show us the history, and believe me, we look too, like, okay, what history? I look to see where's the history of the Edomites that's done away with, so I can do a counter video, and show you, according to Ecclesiastes 4:16. Let's read that real quick. There is no end of all people. We all know that the Romans were Edomites, and when they lost power, obviously, as Apostle Tahar going to the Eastern Roman Empire, when they came into power, obviously everything still went on to a degree, but then you didn't have a nation of people just totally wiped out, because everybody was kept for a purpose. And you got to show in the Bible where any nation was totally wiped out before the end times of the world. That doesn't make sense. You have to have the end of the world before, or the end of an age, or the end of this world, let's say that, before that would be even possible. Right? So let's go to Obadiah 1:18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. So this man is saying that this happened again in the Old Testament, and that the Old Testament, the Bible is one testament, right? You have the New Testament because the Messiah coming on the scene, but you had the mentioning of Yahushua in the Old Testament. It's just one book. In fact, there's prophecies in the Old Testament that you can read in Isaiah, Jeremiah, that hasn't taken place yet. And this is why these Christians are so far behind, right? When it talks about the daughter of Babylon, you got Babylon, you got the daughter of Babylon, right? Babylon should not be healed, or Babylon will be utterly burned, right? And no one shall dwell there again. But you see people dwelling there. So this is future prophecies as well. So the Lord hasn't done away with any nation on the planet. All nations are here today, right? Let's get that real quick. Let's go to let's see if this makes any sense. What he's saying does not make any sense. Let's see what the scripture says. Let's go to Revelation. Let's go to Revelation 1, and we're going to go to about 7, right? It says, behold, he cometh in clouds, talking about Yahushua, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, right? So this would make John a liar, and as he said, as the scripture says, the angels coming up to him, which make the Most High a liar, Because how is all going to see him if they was all done away with? And who knows what the Christians are going to think, right? If they would, and that's another thing that cuts the hell doctrine, because if the ones who pierced him went to hell, then how are they going to see him when he comes back in the clouds? Not making sense either. So it says, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth, all kindreds of the earth shall wail of him, even so. Amen. So let it be. So you have to understand that when it says, behold, with clouds, he will come with clouds, all eyes, every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him. So who was them? You had Israelites and you had the Romans, right? They all going to see him. So that would prove that the Edomites still exist. Anyway, moving on. Let's go into the Apocrypha. I got a couple of articles here. It says Martin Luther was a Roman Catholic monk, and many of the Protestant reformers were exposed to the Roman Catholic liturgy and rituals, which confuse many people. So when you're dealing with the Apocrypha, you really trust these people who took the Apocrypha out of the Bible because it didn't fit their agenda. Universalism, okay? The Reformation was a period of progressive enlightenment in which discernment of what scriptures was truly inspired and what was contrary to the sound doctrine took time to sort through. So this also brings me to the scripture says they've taken crafty counsel. This is that crafty counsel. You have to understand, if we read that book and we started putting all the pieces together, there would be trouble. But we got it now, okay? Martin Luther originally wanted the book of James out of the Bible. You see that? And this is where we come into the book of Hebrews, where they say it's not known who wrote the book, which Timothy was writing it off of letters of Paul. So letters of Paul was in there, and those things that was written concerning Yahushua as well, and the Israelites, right? So it says in its vocal verses about faith and accompanied with works, it says, we go to a little bit more. Luther had the Apocrypha in the German Bible, but noted that they were not considered a part of the canon, or some will say canonical, of inspired books, right? Because canon, that was off of the name of a canon, okay? The Jewish scribes did not believe the Apocrypha books of the Old Testament were inspired, right? The original 1611 contained the Apocrypha. It was removed in later editions. So that's telling you right there. The scripture says, cursed be the man that trusts in man, right? So you're trusting, if these books was already there and then all of a sudden someone comes and remove it, you are cursed to be trusting in a man that removed these books, right? And really that was removed for us. It was removed because they didn't, the Most High wants you Christians to have it anyway, right? They are part of the Apocrypha, which of the Catholic Church had used to justify certain prayers, okay? Let me get this other article real quick, short article. The Protestant Reformation was the 16th century religious, political, intellectual, and cultural upheaval that splintered Catholic Europe, okay, setting in place the structures and beliefs that would define the continent, right, in the modern era. In Northern and Central Europe, reformers, see, this is why it came out of the Bible, right, the Apocrypha. You had the Reformation, the reformers, like Martin Luther, John Calvin, sounds familiar? That's vocab's boy, right? And I believe James White. They all reincarnated back. This is why they come against us. This is why they come against the Apocrypha. Vocab may have been one of those ones that signed off to take their Apocrypha out, okay? John Calvin and Henry, looks like the Roman numerals, look like Henry VIII, challenged papal authority and questioned the Catholic Church's ability to define Christian practice. They argued for the religious political redistribution. This is when they came into power in the 1400s. Really, the Reformation would even go back then, because when they came into power, when this man came back into power, he had, obviously he had bumps along the road on how he's going to set things up. It wasn't just a smooth transition, so to speak, right? So they had to get everything, and well, we're going to take this out, we're going to keep that. Okay, so they argued for the religious and political redistribution of power into the hands of the Bible and pamphlets, reading pastors and princes. The distribution triggers wars, persecution, and the so-called counter-reformation. The Catholic Church's delayed and forceful response to the Protestants. So they made briberies on lands. It was a madhouse. And, they was going back and forth on what books they wanted to take out, what books. This tells you that they had the power to do that, and the Most High allowed them to do that, to take certain books out, right? To throw this off. And there's certain books that we don't even read that they could have stuck in there, But they had no idea with those 66 books. That book right there is enough to bring this truth out. But furthermore, 2 Ezra 6:54, as for the other people, thou said they are nothing but like a spittle. These are all things that what's his name, John Calvin or Cannon or whatever, they wanted to take certain things out because it sounds so-called too harsh. So the prosperity doctrine goes back, and this is why the churches are set up with prosperity. It goes back, right? It's a better way to control. Revelation 22:19. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, Yahweh shall take his part out of the book of life, right? So they're not even in the book of life, right? So the Most High knew they was going to do it, so they was taken out anyway. And then you had wicked, Jake, And it goes on to say, and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book, right? So anyway, I don't have much to say on that. This is the history on the Reformation, the Apocrypha being taken out. We found it, the hidden book, because that's what it means. And there's no history of Edom being stubble, right? Or history of all nations, a particular nation just totally wiped out. Out of all the nations the Most High could have wiped out as well, he decided to take this nation particularly and just at that time and wipe them out, right? But keep everybody else, right? This is the thinking of Christians. I'm saying in that era, in that time of the Bible. So if that's the case, they have no reason in the Bible. They have no reason to be in that book of Obadiah. Anyway, it's just so much confusion with that, man. That's all I have on that. Shalom.